Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Richard Waring, and I'm the host of the PoemWorks reading series, which has been going on for maybe 12 or 13 years. It's a joy to be with you and a wonderful night for an evening of poetry. I'm going to start out with a few salient quotes to get our minds thinking about words. And my first quote is from James Tate, who says, "Poetry is everywhere. It just needs editing." Wisława Szymborska says, "I prefer the absurdity of writing poems to the absurdity of not writing poems." And this one goes out especially to Matt Sisson. Plato says, "At the touch of a lover, everyone becomes a poet." Matt likes to talk about the ancients and the philosophers. The polar explorer, Ernest Shackleton, considers poetry, quote, "vital mental medicine." And he certainly needed a lot of it on his trip to the South Pole. And lastly, I just have to say, poetry has been described as a kind of migratory process where the journey of the poem is complete only when the poem reaches the ear of the listener by being read out loud. We're going to be doing just that tonight, and I look forward to this reading so much. Our first reader, Maureen McElroy, grew up in Boston. She has an MFA from Emerson College. She's the author of For Crying Out Loud, which I loved reading. It's from Kelsey Books 2024. Her chapbook, Car Poems from Finishing Line Press, came out in March of 2020. She is the chair, is a chair of the Rosie Reads Poetry Series and the owner of Jamaica Plain Realty. Please welcome Maureen now.
Thank you so much, Richard. I'm very happy to be here and to be reading with Matthew. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. I'm going to be reading from both of my books and some newer poems. Okay, here's the first one. It's called Expectations. This poem opens with a shotgun over the fireplace, a samurai sword in the kitchen, cans of wolf-toothed dog food in the cabinet. But this is not a Quentin Tarantino poem. It's pacifist. There will be no violence. Despite your expectations, the plot twists are in the sheets. At the foot of the mattress, the dog sleeps. The cat purrs, and the canary is dead, and the mine, you may or may not be mine. I cannot live up to your expectations. Life is disappointing, and so are poems sometimes.
Mm.
Flashback to another life while following a 75-year-old cake recipe. It's the 1950s and my name is Betty. I have a tiny waist and I'm baking chocolate cake on Valium. I lie to my psychiatrist because he tells my husband everything. At school are my 1.38 children. Dottie and Velma and Hazel are coming over later for coffee and cocktails on mid-century mod furniture, which was just furniture then. I use my master's degree to write fake entries in my diary and to type up the correspondence of men. But a few of them are lovely, and we dance together on a no-name boulevard and dream of a jet-packed future from outer space, where I can have my own credit card and non-biodegradable plastic for preserving love and cake.
Great.
This one is about a metamorphosis and also a difficult relationship. Caterpillar. I've given up laughing out loud, second chances, hot cross buns on Sundays, the harpsichord. I just sit around naked, growing body hair. The ugly spots are spreading down my abdomen, but you like them there. Connect them with a ballpoint pen. Wrap your arms around my squishy waist. While you work, I scribble poems on the walls of our jelly glass apartment. Rub moisturizer on my splitting skin. Wait for you to bring fresh cabbage leaves. I used to know who I was before I jump up and down on the bed, poking holes with my head through the plastic wrapped ceiling. I'll be hanging upside down when you come home. You can knock, but you can't come in because I'm changing. When my wings are dry, you can watch me fly away from you.
Mm.
Friends. Let's stay friends, you say, and I say yes, the kind with benefits, the kind who room together and tell each other everything. Besties, BFFs, blood buddies. You would give me an organ, donate your sperm. You'd call me first when good was happening, when you were in need. You would put in my air conditioner, make me laugh through my nose, wear the other half of my heart around your neck, write my eulogy. Tell me, that is what you mean. From the person who said, let's stay friends. I only suggested staying friends to cushion the blow of my leaving you. I'm taking all the furniture, the vintage turntable, the Nina Simone. I meant, let's stay the kind of friends who never see each other again. The kind who send a yearly Christmas card with just a signature, no loving valediction. Lose my number, keep your whole heart, your snorting laugh and failing kidneys. Invest in central air conditioning. I'll still come to your funeral if I'm not too busy, and I'll wear my dancing shoes.
Whoa.
Statistics. The suicide rate among women 45 to 64 is the highest of all age groups. I know nothing about this. The rocks in my raincoat keep my balloons from lifting me off the ground. My smile is only impeded by the width of my cheekbones. The neighbors have asked me to tone down the cymbals when I march in the living room. I exaggerate my bloody red lipstick to kiss life. Moi, love you more. I'm planning a party, a big one, with a jazz band procession and barbecue, 1,000 white flowers. I'm hungry just thinking about it. So hungry and full of lust for this goddess-forsaken world, I could light up a fat stick of dynamite and smoke it.
Oh.
Little sister. I told my sister there was no Santa Claus when she was 5 years old. I did not mean to be malicious. I was 7 and wanted to share my mind-blowing discovery. I figured it out by myself. My cleverness filled my eyes with tinsel. There were no fairies or Easter bunnies. I could see behind the wizard's curtain. Behold the great deception. She was not grateful. It seems I pulled the magic carpet out from under her childhood. I believe she used the words scarred for life, as if knowledge were a knife. I took away her sugar plums. I took away the sparkle, the wonder. Snowmen do not come to life. Reindeer cannot fly. I poisoned her wishing well. I taught her how to write in cursive. I helped her learn to read. The nuns made her print and gave her baby books. I wish I had shut my mouth. I wish I knew when withholding was not selfish, but kind. I wish I had given her gossamer wings, spells and incantations. But she's the one who grew up to find the silver linings, to make every day special. She is the joy maker, the Macarena, and she teaches me more than I ever taught her.
Mm.
Unfaithful. I come home to find feathers in our bed. You say you're leaving me for an angel. Well, she's molting. Manna is unleavened. You'll be eating that instead of steak and mashed potatoes. I heard on high that seraphim have no genitals. I cannot play the harp. I'm not celestial enough with shoulder blades, in place of wings. But when we walked on earth together, I could float. You told me you didn't believe in God, but you believed in us. Remember this, my love. When angels fall, they don't get propped up. Okay, this one was inspired by a news story out of Australia. This woman poisoned her in-laws by using mushrooms in beef Wellington.
Yes.
Sort of an imagined monologue. Honest mistake. Members of the jury, I have a short history of mushroom foraging as backed up by my coerced children, and I neglected to read the manual on safe versus poison fungi beforehand. Death cap can so easily be mistaken for 9 edible varieties whose names escape me, and I lovingly prepared individual beef Wellingtons for my in-laws and company. Imagine my surprise when they died. These things happen. I'm also a sleepwalker and take Ambien, and I may have mixed up the recipe book with the book of spells and incantations, and Mercury was in retrograde. Members of the jury, we've all been there. Have you not made honest mistakes yourselves? Let's not cast stones or willy-nilly life sentences when the victims deserved it.
Wow.
So this one is called Acknowledgement. Like sometimes people have asked me, well, how long did it take you to write that poem? And I'll say, well, 30 minutes and 57 years, because everything that goes on in your life, you rely on it when you write a poem. So really it's everything led up to those 20 minutes when you actually put it on paper. So acknowledgement. A version of this poem first appeared in a crib in Hyde Park. It was nearly abandoned in a parking lot, offered up in a confessional for Hail Marys, spent time in a cemetery waiting for a grave marker. It pulled a sled through the blizzard of 78, saw a man jump off a bridge and land in an ice bank. It lost its way, was head banged in the Rathskeller in the early 90s. It paced in the maternity ward, broke water, choked on a lifesaver, cherry red. A version of this poem was fired up with love, snuffed out under a boot, forgotten in an opiate dream. It was put in a freezer for a year, then tasted like ash. A version saw the spire of Notre Dame, then the hollow. It was typed with a typewriter, a keyboard, an iPhone, gathered from little notes, shoved in a drawer, a glove compartment. It was recessed in the mind. It was gold and pyrite, jackhammered and soothed, coaxed with sugar, given 20 lashes. It was flatlined and electrified. I would like to thank the editors who came before and those up ahead, where a version of this poem will next appear. And my last one is a parody of an author's biography that you see in every book.
Yes.
About the author. She was born in Boston, the 19th child of the same fertility doctor. Her work has not appeared in the New Yorker. She has been nominated for a shopping cart prize. She splits her time between living in her car in Massachusetts and living in her car in Maine. Her recent collection, Crybaby, Invisible Ink Press, has been translated into 133 languages using Google Translate on her phone. She was given a padlock to the city of Worcester. If you would like to see the artist in person, She will be reading at Grollier's Books in Harvard Square in the back corner until they ask her to leave. Thank you.
Oh my goodness, that was wonderful. Thank you so much. That last poem reminds me of one of our poets, Paul Hostovsky. He introduced some of his work as this poem. These poems have appeared and disappeared from the New Yorker and other magazines. Really wonderful. Thank you so much for your reading.
Thank you.
It's great. Up next, our next feature is Matthew Sisson, and his poetry has appeared in journals ranging from the Harvard Review Online to JAMA, the Journal of the American Medical Association. He's been nominated for a Pushcart Prize and read his work on NPR's On Point. His book, Please Call Me Moby, was published by the Pecan Grove Press of St. Mary's University, San Antonio, Texas. Please welcome Matt Sisson.
Hi, Richard. Thank you for having me. Welcome to my kitchen. Anyone that wants to come over for dinner, just give me a call. I can only make one good dish. It's barbecue chicken. So I thought I'd start off with a poem about something I know nothing about, and that's baseball. It's called The Baseball. Scarred and torn, covered in mold, I found a baseball huddled against the curb, a gray midwinter day, too cold for outdoor play. Had it been lost during father-daughter pitching practice by a little leaguer, hit out of the park by Ted Williams? Fenway is only 8 miles away. Then I read Made in Mexico. It was obvious. The ball had crossed rivers, braved heat and cold, had risked everything to come to America, to play America's greatest game, the American dream. We have enough baseballs, I thought, made right here in the USA. What was one baseball to me? I have my own problems. I tossed it back. I'm very interested in what scholars call the biblical narrative, which is a kind of a fancy way of saying biblical stories, particularly those in the book of Genesis. And this is a poem based on the creation myth. It's called A Couple of Notes. When God created the heavens and earth, the budget went to his place. He created light for himself, but shed a little so that some would live in early morning sunshine, knowing the rest of us would live in darkness. When he gathered the waters, the island of marriage appeared too, surrounded by vast coral reefs of delight. He filled the island with promise after promise, but failed to notice the overcrowding. Soon happiness withered like an untended garden. Joy wandered from the flock. Love said goodbye and swam off into the darkness. Bach wrote 6 cello suites, which are maybe the most beautiful music ever composed. They're for a cello alone. And as Richard mentioned, there was a discussion of this music on Point, and I called in, and it was one of the great moments of my life. The person was a little condescending sometimes, and I said, I've written a poem about the cello suites. And they said, okay, read it. And there was dead silence afterwards. I had knocked that person on their pretentious butt. And that was a great moment for my life as a writer. So here it is. Eating Whole Foods chicken sausages while listening to Bach Cello Suite number 5. Chicken sausages from Whole Foods. Expensive, but you're reasonably sure what you're eating besides chicken. Sea salt and vinegar, black and red pepper, powdered honey. I grill them with sweet potatoes, broccoli, and portobellos. Sometimes eat them with ketchup. The cello suites come as a 4 CD box set. Bach, the 6 cello suites, and a portrait of Yo-Yo Ma in performance on the cover. You get joy, suffering, contemplation and longing, resignation and release. I met Yo-Yo Ma, spotted him in Harvard Square. He walked over when I called his name. I began lecturing. The suites are Bach's transformation of French country dances, the corporeal into the spiritual, the most profound music ever written, stopping mid-sentence, embarrassed. Mr. Mark could not have been more gracious. I thought about getting a dog, but it was going to be too much work, so I thought about fostering a dog, which I also thought was too much work. So I wrote a poem, Fostering an Elephant. Fostering an elephant. A golden retriever or a Siamese cat would have been ideal. We live in a small house with a smaller backyard, but for the elephant, it was us or the poachers. We took her in. Oh, I'd say 900 pounds. She's only a baby. Drinks gallons of milk. We go directly to a dairy. So far, no one has complained about the late night tanker truck deliveries. I think the neighbors are jealous. My kids are wild about her. Walk her without complaint. They promise to keep the yard clean. When the constant trumpeting began, we piled into the minivan, rushed her to the vet. She said there was nothing wrong with the elephant physically. Turns out that elephants are matriarchal. I think she missed her family. Lately, she seems to be settling in with mine. I have to admit it, I'm crazy about her too. Built her a house out back. When it's warm, she sleeps there. She's smart, easy to train, remembers everything. Never has to be told things twice. Books on tape. A man sits alone in the house he bought after his divorce. It is a bright house. Sometimes the sunlight helps. He listens to books on tape. They make good breakfast companions, excellent company at dinner. He loves memoir best, a way to meet new people, experience new lives. He listens to comedy before bed. It makes getting into an empty one easier. He's given up fiction. Even a literary portrayal of personal struggles exacerbates his own, though for some reason he loves Moby Dick. He waters the orchids in his living room window. They still blossom. Sometimes he looks outside. Folly literature. I don't know if anyone knows the Watts Tower up in LA. If you don't, you should look it up. It's quite an interesting thing. Anyways, folly literature. Watts towers of words, folk poetry penned from hubcaps, bits of broken lives, lost loves, and other ephemera, as big as any roadside Paul Bunyan, elephant, or Indian, and always wooden, even if concrete verse. Some follies become a cause celeb, and after conservation and editing, coffee table book bound. Most are little more than academic tourist traps, far, far from the highway of mainstream canon. Remember, all poets secretly fear theirs is a purple and dinosaur art. This is my Ars Poetica, which I admit is a little bit crazy. Ars Poetica. I squeegee the inside of my shower door before getting out to towel off. At first, I produced the usual squeaks and squealings, the squeegee weegings everyone knows. Now the door is my violin, the squeegee my violin bow. With short strokes, the chirp of cicadas and the cawing of crows, locked up brakes and tires on gridlocked urban roads. Clockwise, I play the Gregorian chant of cloistered Gregorian monks, with counter the soulful sounds of 60s Motown funk. I have mastered my art, paid my dues. After years of standing naked and sneezing, years of my life naked and freezing.
Wonderful.
This is a sort of a different attempt. A noun, a verb, and an adjective walk into a bar. I invited them, motioned them to my table, buy the first round, a gesture of goodwill. It's been a long time since they cooperated, and they know it. Mostly they get drunk. smashed, out of control. Paraphrase local participles and pronouns looking for a fight. Forget reasoning with them. Better luck next time, buddy, I heard one say. When we put our minds to it, love, identity, and self, social issues, death, and mourning. Last call. Peanuts gone, glasses empty. On a good night, a first draft lies on the table. Visiting my ex-wife's grave, anger, and a simple syllogism. It's not the hastily executed, shallow type, so popular with serial killers and crimes of passion, scattered leaves and twigs barely covering the victim's mutilated body. In fact, she's alive. So am I. Will not be going together. Adam coined the F word just after the expulsion. There were plenty of anger on both sides of the gates. Buddha sat around for a lifetime trying to get a handle on his, or was that suffering? My case is a simple syllogism. I did not control my anger, not her fault. So much for my marriage. I wrote a poem about Marcel Duchamp's famous painting, Nude Descending a Staircase. It's an abecedarian. In other words, each word in the poem is the next letter of the alphabet. And since the letter X is so hard to find a word, I was stuck with X-rated, so I made it about sex and art. Here we go. Always be careful descending earthward, fair grace, heavenly insouciant. Just kiss, love me now, O painted queen. Resist stasis, tumble us, Venus, with X-rated youthful zeal. I've had at least 100 match dates, and so this is my online dating profile. I am a very funny 70-year-old Jewish atheist looking for the right woman to wake up next to. I am the father to 3 grown children who share their lives with me. Allergic to cats, but will consider allergy pills. Do not have a dog. Yours will be welcome. Love Moby Dick, Hamlet, and the Terminator. Guarantee laughs. I have published a book of poetry. You will be between 60 and 70. Must have a sense of humor. Know the difference between Anapest and Budapest. Have memorized 4 poems by Robert Frost and Ezra Pound. My favorites, Mending Wall and In a Station of the Metro. In reasonable shape. I am not an athlete. It's okay if you are privileged to a personal revelation, receive messages from the other side, describe yourself as dreamy. I too long for the Lake District. I am interested in your interests. If wanted, will make them mine. I want desperately to dance with you in my kitchen. The balcony rails of Paris. The balcony rails of Paris stand in cast iron witness to communes, occupations, student uprisings, terrorist bombings, and endless pigeon droppings. Monsieur Haussmann designed them for Napoleon III's urban renewal. The Parisians repaint their rails religiously every year or so. Perhaps under all that black, they're red like the Egyptian tombs once were, or sea green and blue like the walls of Pompeii, or pink or yellow. Drink enough Bordeaux, and the scrollwork moves across the visual field like the text on a billboard in Times Square. Something about Descartes, existentialism, or structuralism. I can't say for sure. My French is terrible. And of course, I have 3 children, and my daughter's getting married next year. But I had to write a poem about children, so I wrote this one about my daughter. It's called The Scientist. Hot, says my 2-year-old daughter. We're digging holes at the beach to stem the tide. It's not chit-chat. We're working too hard for that. She's checking thirst and sweat, her data against mine. At dinner, she reconfirms Newtonian physics with the downward motion of plate, spoon, and cup. Archimedes, she searches for a method to move water up out of the tub to irrigate the tile floor. She's curious, a born scientist, testing, committed to evaluating evidence. She listens when I tell her, be careful, the stove is hot, but looks at me as if to say, why should I trade my perceptions for the vagaries of faith? In the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston, they have a head of an Egyptian priest. It's called the Boston Green Head because it's made out of green sandstone. It dates to about 380 BCE. And this is my poem, Priest. Forehead furrowed in doubt, crow's feet at his eyes, deep creases run nose to mouth. His fleshy jowls are there, even the bumps and shallows of his shaved head. He's worried about the efficacy of prayer. Isis, Anubis, Ra, all bosses are difficult, a divine one, impossible. He has arrived at the question all thinkers come to. Why is there so much suffering in the world? And of course, he no longer sees a young man in the mirror. So, Elizabeth Bishop wrote the most famous sestina of our lifetime, anyways. And so I took the 6 N words from her sestina and wrote my own. What the hell? I'm pretty proud of it. Here we go. Rain, only rain inside that house. A grandfather, the grandfather silent. Excuse me, I'll try again. Rain, only rain inside that house. A grandfather, the grandmother silent, a child watching by the stove. Make dinner, put down that almanac, the grandfather yells, orders and tears. Dried flowers hang like tears in the desiccated house. The sun in the almanac sharpens the shadows on the grandmother. Sometimes they eat quietly by the stove for the sake of the child. Who would abuse a child? But soon again, stop those tears. The dead, like ashes from a stove, disperse, garrison the house, grandfather cursing grandmother by the tide tables in the almanac. Wisdom and weather fill an almanac, a guide for the living, thinks the child, no help to grandfather or grandmother. There is no sugar for teacup tears. No way out of the house, laughs the pot-bellied stove. Light the stove. God help us, thinks the almanac. Termites continue with the house. I'm sorry, she says to the child. I will stop the tears, the child says to the grandmother. The grandmother, the knife by the stove. He died pooled in blood-red tears. End of conversation, said the almanac. I ended the conversation, says the child, dancing around the house. Grandmother died, the child sold the stove, an inscrutable house. What remains? Almanac nightmares and tears. I'm completely addicted to YouTube, and I watched a series of educational videos the government of Canada produced for their lumberjacks. And this is called Maintaining a Chainsaw. Keep the cutting edge razor sharp. After each cut, file the teeth to return the edge. Sharp teeth ensure smooth operation. Hard surfaces like divorce, child support, and midlife dating may require mid-cut sharpening. Check the filter. All kinds of particulates accumulate there. Lost loves, missed business opportunities, failed therapy and diets. To release the dust, tap the filter against a garbage can. A clean filter like sharp teeth is essential to chainsaw operation. Finally, grease the starter assembly. Nothing is more embarrassing than a saw that refuses to start at parent-teacher meetings, collegial discussions, cocktail parties, and the like. Remember, a chainsaw, like a well-maintained knife, is a safe, efficient tool. Sharpening significantly reduces kickbacks and self-inflicted wounds.
Mhm.
I'm 71 and I've known Richard and Gray and some other people here for almost 25 years. So here's my poem, Age Spots. Brown, almost translucent, you've seen age spots on your grandparents' hands, on your parents'. Some look like suns orbited by planets, or comets with long tails, 2 eyes, and a big clown nose. Others form maps of distant archipelagos. Mine are the numbers on a pair of dice, or singular and large, the unseen sniper's fatal wound. They never seem to achieve the eternal spotted beauty of a Surratt. An appearance of brightness. The Egyptians had Ra, the Greeks Apollo. They knew where their bread was buttered. Cole Porter worshipped the sun too. He wrote night and day. I love Ella Fitzgerald's version. Now we know light behaves like particles and waves bouncing around Colorado's firs and aspens, wilting my brother-in-law's tomatoes in Indianapolis. She left. Think of it this way. It was like being hit by a Roger Clemens fastball under the bright lights of a night game at Fenway. Dinosaurs, birds, and bird watching. Dinosaurs lived swampy lives, multiplying wildly without thesis, antithesis, or placebo. Cold-blooded or warm, we're sure it wasn't a failure of thermoregulation that led to their extirpation. Did they go quietly into that fernid night? Birds descended directly from dinosaurs, one continuous phylogeny, Archaeopteryx, to the American bald eagle. Thank God they're not venomous like their reptile cousins. I'd be afraid to go outside. I'm a bird watcher. Oh, how I want to be the first to point out a mockingbird, red-tailed hawk, or our summer migrants, orioles and blackbirds, to the monthly group. You've got to move quickly if you want to follow sapsuckers, our guide scolds. I'm moving as fast as I can. Sometimes evolutionary pressures kick in. I can't help thinking Thanksgiving, 24 blackbirds baked in a pie. I like taking glossaries and making up new definitions for the terms. And this is my poem about algorithms. Algorithms are step-by-step instructions to solve a class of problems. They can be expressed mathematically, in symbolic logic, or natural language. Remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. Turn the other cheek. There is no God but Allah have proven suboptimal. A recursive algorithm makes reference to itself until a terminal condition is reached. You met them in high school, at work, at cocktail parties. Some become politicians, others celebrities, all sociopathic. Brute force, or the exhaustive search, is the naive method of trying every possibility until a solution is reached. These include alcohol, drug abuse, a life of crime, therapy, and medication. Divide and conquer needs no explanation, especially under the Republican administrations. If life were like chess, I would get on my knees and worship Garry Kasparov and Bobby Fischer. This is certainly one of the strangest poems I've written, and I was lucky to have it published. It's called Along Cartesian Lines, a 3-axis coordinate system approach to poetry. Let the x-axis represent the range of human emotion, moving negatively from the center, the great voices of melancholy, Poe, Baudelaire, Shelley, and Sexton. Lesser poets use melancholy like the great hippopotamus, mud, to protect their backsides, moving positively happiness, never a great muse. The y-axis runs body to spirit, downward sonnets of sexual innocence, pantoums of passion, transience, death, and disease. Upward, the lyric works of ecstasy, Rumi, Wordsworth, Blake, and the Psalms. Whitman moved up and down the y-axis like a barometer in hurricane season. Z is consciousness, the anxious beauty of Auden and Eliot, and contemporaries who cast their readers adrift on a self-referential calico sea. Thank you for listening to that one. This is Cain. My father was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. Mother, too. They had no idea how good they had it. I'm going to start over again. Cain. My father was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. Mother, too. They had no idea how good they had it. A couple of bad decisions and it was gone. Family is family. My brother and I went to work. Commodities. I was wheat and rice, he sheep and cattle. What can I tell you? One day he doesn't show up. It was hard without him, but business is business. I believe in doing whatever it takes. Eventually, I made a killing. I don't normally write with rhyme, but this is my rhymed poem. It's called Doubt. Thomas doubted his Lord's resurrection boast. Hamlet, the long list of grievances given him by his father's ghost. Descartes doubted to grow green his dictum, healthy and logically unblighted. David Hume doubted a ball and its falling are constantly united. Copernicus used it to stop the sun in its tracks. 5 centuries later, scientists carry on his quest for scientific facts. Freud believed that self-doubt, the most common of human defections, could be overcome by the most human thing of all, the painful work of self-reflection. And this is my last poem. Listening to Robert Frost read. I've been listening to Robert Frost read since I was a kid. My parents had the famous Cadman recording. I didn't understand the poems, but his voice was something special. I listened in college too. A pilgrimage to the library media room in the basement, and there he was. It made me feel sophisticated. No one else knew. A secret pleasure to be enjoyed only by myself. My favorite is Mending Wall. First line's an assertion of a moral order in the universe in image alone, at least in my opinion. I bought a copy of Frost's selected poems at a used bookstore. At home, I discovered it was signed. I've heard the recordings edited with music, as if the poetry is not enough. Producers hoping to bind themselves to his immortality, as I do in my own small way here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Matt. What a wonderful mix of wittiness and wisdom. I've always said that your poetry spans the distance between the cosmic and the comic. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. You're embarrassing me, but thank you.
That was wonderful.
Thank you.
Well, next month, we've got Margot Wizansky and Sarah Reddy reading. So looking forward to that on October 3rd. And now let us hear from the rest of the people in the room that are willing to share a poem in the open mic. And we're going to start out with Margie Flanders, who I haven't seen in a while. And I'm very looking forward to her poem.
You're on mute. There you go.
Keep breathing. You'll find it.
It's in the bottom left-hand corner, I think.
Yes, there's a little microphone image. It says audio. Let's see. Okay, we'll let you figure that out, and I'll come back to. Oh, wait.
Okay, now you can hear me.
Yes.
There you go.
I think it was because I had the gallery on.
Oh, okay.
I'm not happy to go first because the two readers were so funny, and I'm not reading a funny poem.
Oh, that's fine.
But I'm going to tell a story about Matt quickly.
Sure.
He was at the first meeting that I met at Barbara's house, and it was a free write meeting. And there was no explanation because everybody else knew what was going on. And I sat next to Matt, and at one point he leaned over and whispered, "You can't pick up your pen. You have to keep writing."
I said that. I apologize.
I was so happy to learn that.
Okay.
Anyway, okay. This is called Emptying. My father has not yet come to an end, but he has lost names and details like stones swallowed by high tide. I can almost hear his mind clicking like fingernails under a cool white handkerchief. He is trying and sorting and trying. At the shore, he faces the water, swings his arms in circles to warm his muscles, as he has always done. Ill at ease in silence, he talks constantly, asks me again how old he is, as if the question establishes our connection, as if my answer, 91, proves he is still on Earth. The sun snaps at our backs, and he tells me a dream from last night. He was holding a drawer full of his things. He carried them to the ocean and tipped them all into the waves. The breeze draws him forward. He turns, as he always does, throws himself backwards into the water, scrawny frame sending up splashes. Here he is absolved of all his fears. I feel his emptying, though I know there is more pain and release to come. But the drawer has been spilled, and he has already started to say goodbye.
Gorgeous. Thank you, Margie.
Thank you.
Up next, please welcome John Engstrom.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay. I forget that it's a super widescreen close-up. But anyway, thanks to the two opening readers. I really enjoyed it, and this is a piece, a recent piece I've been working on. It's called "Why Is There Such a Thing?" Why is there such a thing as social capital? Why is there such a thing as social skills you're punished for not having? Why is there such a thing as academic poetry? Why is there such a thing as an educational system? Why is there such a thing as a tenure track? Is this different from a railroad track? Why is there such a thing as networking, another activity forbidden to the socially asynchronous? Why is there such a thing as heart attacks? Why is there such a thing as quick-witted badinage, another thing I can't do? Why is there such a thing as cripple kicking? Why is there such a thing as bleeding profusely on yourself and the sidewalk? Why is there such a thing as a stone classroom full of stone desks? Why is there such a thing as anachronism? Why is there such a thing as responsibility? Why is there such a thing as a thing? Why is there such a thing as an old boys club? Why is there such a thing as a faux pas? Why is there such a thing as gerrymandering? Why is there such a thing as expensive drugs? Why is there such a thing as penis enlargers? Why is there such a thing as sports? Why is there such a thing as teeth? Why is there such a thing as crossed eyes?
Wow. To be continued, I suppose.
You're
Thank you, John. That was great.
very welcome.
Please welcome Holly Guran.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Thanks to the readers tonight and the open mic readers too. It's been such a delightful evening. Message to Trump in the Bardo. My hand extends, and soon your time will come. You walk the steps of doom and fail to see how ash consigns your terms to death. Beware, this ash is born above your hair. It braids a greed, it drifts, it leaves a fog that chokes your lungs and stops your breath. This ash from those who came before, whose lives destroyed, and for a time they ruled. Their means were cruel, their days obsessed with revenge and lies. Take Stalin, who starved Ukraine and put his friends in jail before he killed. He died of stroke, perhaps of poison. Mein Führer took a pill and shot his brain to dust. Il Duce hung above Laredo Square, abused at death. Beware, your tracks are clear. The wolves wait, the crowd is near. Is this an end you crave?
A Trump X. Thank you so much. Up next, Margery Silver. You need to unmute.
You're muted.
There we go.
Truly enjoyable and wonderful poetry.
Mm.
I just want to slip in that I am having a reading at Porter Square Books on October 1st, Wednesday at 7 o'clock, which
Fantastic.
I'm very excited about. So my poem is called I Dare Not Dream. My night brain refuses to create dreams of any kind for me, left alone with only shadows of what I dare not dream. I dare not dream my husband's uniform, brass buttons now hanging from the jagged rip across the navy blue, where his broken heart shows through. I dare not dream the photo, 1945, my father's homecoming, his pride erased, replaced with disillusion. What do I dare to dream? I cannot mend a uniform, retouch a forlorn photo, bring back these heroes to the now crumbling pillars of what they built. I dare not dream about what is ahead.
Thank you, Margery. And now please welcome Steve Nickman.
Thanks, Richard. What a wonderful evening. So glad I came. And Richard, as far as cosmic and comic, you may or may not know, Italo Calvino wrote a wonderful book called Cosmic Comics.
Wow. I'll have to check it out.
Crab apples. The cold October trees are red with fruit they've made but don't need. Their way of offering is vegetal, slow. They only show. I bring them my need to belong to a place, find something there I can work with, make it mine. I pluck the recipe for liqueur from my cell phone. Crab apples, vodka, sugar, tincture of time. John, my house cleaner from Cape Breton, who brings his present every year, the single malt they make back home, now sniffs and tastes my product. Gives it an A. John wouldn't doctor the truth. Takes the jar I give him, the tree's gift and mine. We both live alone.
Thank you, Steve. And now Margot Wizansky, who is going to give us a treat, a little preview for next month's feature spot.
That was a wonderful reading. I mean, so much humor and so original. I loved it. And this is actually a new poem. It's a sonnet. A house wren nests in the geranium. She stands on the gnarly roots of our maple, a small brown bird, nondescript and 5 inches beak to tail. She's able to puff out her breast, inflate it, contrive to swell up twice her size. We're the menace, parting leaves to see the nest she's built in their lodge. She shrieks at us. 4 fledglings look starving, all mouth, and she's been on the watch for bugs to eat. Before they hatched, she brooded on the window box nest, except when one of us happened to pass, and she hid beneath the car. I see myself afresh in her, screaming at me from that gnarled wall. I once was fierce like her, my children small.
Oh, thank you. Excellent. And our penultimate poet, Kerry Loughman.
Hello.
Hello.
Maureen, it was so nice to meet you and your work. It's just funny and beautiful. And Matt, I had no idea how much I missed you until I heard you again.
Okay, thank you.
I've read this poem before, but I hope you'll indulge me. My older sister died about 3 weeks ago after way too many years of suffering. And I had written this poem before that, and it also was published last year. It's called 2 Blocks from the Arboretum. Our mother never taught us how to love, not being loved enough, weaned on paucity. Do you remember losing me on Custer Street? I was 3, you 11, and loath to care for me, who lagged behind. You turned a corner and were gone. My tears did not bring you back. I ran panicked the blocks to our house where you waited, pale and unrelenting, an anti-Madonna of the splintered stair. By high school, you'd spun yourself so far away, I knew you only by your absence. Bereft, I ran solo under dawn redwoods, embracing a perfect and necessary dark. I seed, sister, you are still lost to me.
Heartbreakingly beautiful. Wow. Well, our final poet is me, myself, and I will read a poem that I don't think I would have written if I hadn't known Matt Sisson and his work. This is my latest poem. It's called My Genesis. Mother takes me through the forest, naming the flowers as she goes. Purple dawn throat, meadow-footed pattern spreader, moonlit touch me not, firefly dreamweed, what to beware of and what to admire. Father falls in line behind, his axe in hand. He's better at chopping off his feelings. At first, it's just me and my brother, nearly killing each other over nothing. When I don't die, mother has another boy anyway. Father fells the tree while reciting his motto, action, not words. I have my way with words. The snake shows me where to go, parting the grass at the edge to everything yet to be praised.
Very nice. Oh.
Well, thank you, everyone. And how about a round of applause for all of our readers tonight, especially our features. I always like to say that if I had enough of these poetry readings, I wouldn't have had to have heart surgery. But I think I might have had to anyway. But it's just so wonderful to share this time together, especially in these very troubled times.
Yeah.
Holly, thank you for letting the guy have it. That was absolutely wonderful. We need more of that. We need poetry of protest. Right?
Yeah.
That's where we're at. It's happening now.
How to do it, yeah.
Rich, thank you for another great night of emceeing the PoemWorks series. It's always wonderful. Both readers were fabulous, and so were the open micers. Wonderful. Thank you.
Pam.
Thank you.
That is the voice of
Thank you
Pam
so much.
Jem, who is part of the Worcester National Baseball Poetry Festival, which Matt is going to submit that poem.
Yeah.
The fourth annual. I'm sure that will make a big hit. So I think it'll get a home run.
Oh God.
Oh God. Richard.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank
Wonderful
you.
evening.
Thanks, Richard.
Yes.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Richard.
Richard, for doing this.
Yes.
As always.
See you next time.
Yes.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Right.
Thank you. Good night.
Night.